Okay, awesome. So, hello everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to our webinar. What better way to spend your Friday than with ePRINTit talking about cybersecurity? I will be your host today through the webinar. I'm Steve Jones, and today I have a couple of my colleagues that will be supporting me in the background. We have Julian Go from Asia.
Hello, everyone.
And I also have Mark Pattonid. Sorry, Mark. Um, anyway, so look, this webinar will be a gloves off, cards on the table look at zero trust and the impact that it is having on the print industry today. Certainly in my 27 years, I believe that this IT change, strategy, focus, call it whatever you need to, has the biggest impact that I've seen. And again, we'll really dive into that. We'll explore all avenues, and we'll see how these changes are taking our customers into a different view regarding cybersecurity in and around the print industry. Okay, so those of you who don't know ePRINTit, ePRINTit is actually been a development partner of HP for nearly 20 years now. And we have done product development for HP. We have done bespoke customer development projects for HP, all in and around ePRINTit. And ePRINTit as a technology has never, and this is sort of the clue to all of this, where we're going to take this webinar, it has never been an on-prem product, right? ePRINTit has never been an on-prem product. It's always lived in the cloud, born and bred. And what does that mean? Well, that means that ePRINTit's been down those dead end roads, right? We know what works. We know what architectures need in that model. And this is sort of something that we have been working with HP directly for a good amount of time. And now you'll all be pleased to hear, in agreement with HP, we are now facilitating access through HP to the HP channel. So now channel partners can access the technology and benefit, just like HP have through their direct sales, etc., and our developmental support. Now the channel can access it as well. So that's who ePRINTit is. Now today, as I've alluded to, we are going to look at zero trust and the impact. And here's some of the big takeaways. I will bring them up as we go through because I think they're really important that we make a note of them and we understand what we're talking about when we talk about zero trust, okay, with respect to print. We're going to look at a number of strategies initially that has led us here, right? So in IT, a lot of the strategies that are driving the models of zero trust, and again, those little changes and how those changes are having that impact on our infrastructures and our customers today, and why they're coming to us in conversation and asking about these things that are normal in IT, but not necessarily in print. So we're going to be able to look at those conversation points, and you'll hopefully pick up on some dialogue that you can start having those conversations with your customers. And of course, towards the end of the webinar, we'll start to touch on the solution set between HP and ePRINTit that allows you to provision a cybersecurity focused technology to your customers and is certainly best of breed in the market. And again, you'll understand then how to overcome any customer concerns and challenges around zero trust, and you'll be able to articulate that with the information from the webinar. And of course, we'll have some next steps for you in order to engage with us. Today, we are also, we have a number of HP colleagues, so your partner managers, etc., that you'll be able to communicate with. And again, they'll be able to facilitate our next steps. So the strategies in and around zero trust, like what gets us here. So let's look at it from an IT perspective. And here I have the IT industry commitment to this. Now, I could have had a number of strategies here that facilitate zero trust, but I've picked on the three big ones because in the print industry, these are really the ones that we're always seeing IT come and ask us, right? And the first one is around cloud first. Now, the IT strategy of cloud first is, of course, I work in the cloud, right? So cloud first is I log onto my PC and I authenticate. Well, nowadays we do that, Microsoft 365. Salesforce or Sage Online or SAP even. We've recently heard that SAP by 2030 will be a 100% cloud solution. It will no longer support their on-prem technologies. Cloud first, right? Now, that means that if I'm only working in the cloud, well, then I only need internet access. So over time, we've now seen this birth of internet-only offices now over the last certainly 5 years, because I'm working in the cloud. I don't need to have local connectivity anymore. And here's where I'm driving to that zero trust model. My device does not need connectivity to anything locally. And that means that I can then use a device isolation model, a zero trust model. Because if I can isolate my device, I've completely protected it. I've protected it against threats, and I've also protected against any threats that might be there in being exposed to my network and other devices around. Now, this is the IT-focused strategy, right? And I'm sure a lot of you have these conversations with your customers today because they come to you and say, look, we're doing X, Y, and Z. How can you help facilitate it? So what we see from a print industry commitment to these technology or these strategies, and by the way, most of you know this slogan here because when we talk to IT, right, IT do not like printing. It's certainly not sexy for them to work with. And whenever we talk to IT about printing, they always sigh and like, oh, whatever, like, it's printing. But unfortunately for printing, we are seen as the laggard in the market, the print industry. Now, these figures here are collated via market analysts. We've collated them together from like Gartner's, the Coursera, those types of organizations that have given us this information. Now, what I will say, hands up, I do not agree one bit with these numbers. I believe they're a hell of a lot lower. And the reason why I believe they're a hell of a lot lower is because if we look at this top down from a print solution market, and let's take some of the main solutions out there, how can I be a cloud first thought process when actually, when I hit print, the print job stays on my PC? Is that cloud first strategy? No, it's not. Because when I hit print, my print job stays on my PC, right? And that means that I'm sending that print job to an IP address of the printer, or worse, a local server. That is not cloud first, which means that, do I agree with this number? No, I think it should be lower. And because I'm doing that, that's certainly not Internet Office, because I'm working locally, right? And the last one that drives zero trust the most is device isolation. How can I isolate my device and protect it from threats if I've got direct IP connections all around my architecture, to server, to printers, whatever? Zero trust is not that. It is isolated devices only needing an internet connection because I work online. As soon as I have a product that's telling me that I need to retain data on my PC. That is none of this. And again, these are the strategies of IT that are really changing the way that organizations are coming to the print market and saying, I need a print solution that can facilitate this with no exception now. There is no exception in Zero Trust. And this is where I want to bring in some facts. I've only got 3. I could give you a million, but I'm only going to go with 3. But these are 3 facts that really sing it for us all, that can give us a steering and a direction of how we need to move forward from a print perspective. So here is the main point of Zero Trust. This is Zero Trust in one sentence. Under stringent rules, organizations assume that all endpoints, including printers, are infected. That is the primary rule for Zero Trust, okay? Now, there's no coincidence why I have a bunch of students in my picture here, because we assume that everything is infected, right? We have to. And if we assume that everything is infected, then this eliminates the traditional options of direct IP printing. And we know, and you all know, that the print products out there that you know and have used for 20, 30 years are doing what? Direct IP printing. Zero Trust is a huge impact on this entire market because of these derived facts that I'm giving you now. Number 2, this is why I've picked this one up. Traffic, keyword. Traffic must be brokered through secure, authenticated channels with centralized control, ensuring no device can establish a rule IP connection. Traffic. Now, what I will say to you is that there are a number of products out there that interpret Zero Trust in a way that benefits them. Of course they do. They want to keep their market. But we're not talking about a user walking over to a printer and authenticating at the printer. That's not Zero Trust. We're talking about traffic. The traffic needs to be brokered centrally. And for customers, this shift means that direct IP printing is no longer viable in Zero Trust, as it bypasses, here's the heavyweight slogan for you, as it bypasses the verification and segmentation layers designed to contain threats. This is not me, this is not ePRINTit, this is Zero Trust 101, right? End of. No ifs, no buts, no coconuts. You cannot, under Zero Trust cybersecurity protection, be doing direct connections in an IT secured environment. It's not acceptable, and it's not part of Zero Trust at all. Now, fact number 3, and we'll come back to that slogan of everything infected. And here is where, when we look at the impact of this, printing must move to cloud native. Why cloud native? Okay, rhetorical question. You're all on mute, so no one can answer. But the point is, cloud native is not a local print server, or it's not a printer application installed on a VM in a private cloud or a hosted cloud. Newsflash, that's not a cloud print solution, that's an on-prem solution. Cloud native is moving to microservice clustering, which is aligned with the CSO directive that all devices are assumed infected. Okay? Now, in those 3 facts, we should already be understanding Zero Trust and the impact on print, right? Hopefully, all of you understand this now, or hopefully it's reinforced your understanding, let me say. But Now, when we look at zero trust, we start to understand why it's going to change the industry and why it is already changing the industry. For ePRINTit, news, like, spoiler alert, for ePRINTit, this is huge business for us, right? Because we are getting approved under cybersecurity vetting over and above nigh on every other product out there in the industry. Now, I want to bring some visuals to you, right? So what I've been saying, the facts around zero trust, I want to bring some visuals so we start to align with this model of how we move forward. Now, remember what I'm saying here, old-fashioned cloud. The old-fashioned cloud was a real innovation of its time. Yes, we had cloud architecture with O365 and Cloud Active Directory, etc., and Exchange Online, but it still needed a lot of local synchronization, right? It needed a hell of a lot of local synchronization. We had WAN optimization technologies. That market was booming because of this. And everything locally still relied on synchronizing locally. Anyway, we rush ahead into modern cloud. We now have Microsoft 365. We have huge amounts of SaaS technologies. And now, what do I need to work? Internet, HTTPS, port 443, Internet Protocol. Everything else is surplus. We no longer need it. The MPLSs are going away, and now we see, even now, still organizations accelerating their adoption to cloud architectures and microservices and cloud native technologies. Why? Because we just need internet to connect, which is already encrypted. And here is the safest place you can be, as opposed to on-prem and private and hosted clouds. However, printing has been left wanting. It's not had the ability like the IT market has in accelerating into HTTPS. Let me tidy this up a little bit, because we'll look at traditional print models now. Okay, so all of the applications that that we've been using for years and years and years, let's look at the impact on this modern cloud now. So the modern cloud, the first thing that happens in a modern cloud is this, right? Isolated devices. And because we're isolating our devices, it means that it's perfect. It's zero trust, right? It's what we've just been talking about. It's all of the strategies now. Cloud first mentality. I work in the cloud. Microservice. I have internet only. I just need an internet gateway. Give me an internet. I'm done. And then I've got my isolated devices for zero trust. No threats are being created because I have no need to have any local connections at all. Well, let's bring our printer into play. And the first thing IT want to do is this. Unfortunately, the printer comes with what? A traditional print model, where this is often the case. My isolated devices are no longer isolated because I need my direct device-to-device communication. Internet Office now goes away. Zero trust is no longer an option. And I've now got threats created because I'm retaining print jobs on my PC or whatever. So we see solutions doing this. I bring a print server into play, or a Omni server, or a bridge server, call it whatever you want. It's a print server. And it may well have the power to do accounting, reporting, whatever it does for users and printers. It's not zero trust. And it's not internet only. And it's not a secured solution, because I've exacerbated the connection threat level that I now have in my architecture. And then some bright spark says, well, let's spin up. I love this term. Not spin up. Let's spin up a VM and install our application on that in the private cloud or the hosted cloud or whatever cloud they call it. But now, what does this look like? Again, rhetorical question. This is the old-fashioned cloud, everyone. Yeah? This is not the modern cloud. This is the old-fashioned cloud. Local sync, clients pointing at devices, local sync servers, or whatever you want to call them. This is the old-fashioned cloud. Now we know why IT don't find print very sexy and why print industry is deemed the laggard of the IT world. Now, ultimately, I'm pointing at something here because I'm going to do something now in my next animation because this is really, really interesting, and it's not necessarily pointed, a technological point, or it is a technological point, but it's about insurance. This is not an advert, but this is insurance. Now, most organizations have liability insurances. And guess what is the burning topic now in liability business insurance? Cybersecurity insurance. Now, if I'm not able to provide a zero trust architecture, to provide the elements talked about already, centralized traffic brokering, right? Mitigating threats of IT connections. Again, zero trust 101. We've seen in recent weeks in the news, we've seen, I'll name and shame, sorry, but we've seen Xerox coming out, partnering with the Hartford cybersecurity insurance. Why? Because they're trying to guarantee customers insurances to mitigate the software that's being deployed. And I'm going to let that hang there for a bit because we have to think about this. And the one thing I will leave this slide, this is my last slide now on going on about zero trust, but I'm going to leave you with one thing. Please don't be a BlackBerry. Don't be a Nokia. See this coming. Everyone is getting hacked today. Everybody. We might only hear about the big ones in the news, but SMEs, SMBs, all businesses are being hacked and ransomed, and they cannot get cybersecurity insurance because of implementations like this. Don't be a BlackBerry. Okay? It's here, it's coming. Include this in your portfolio when we talk about, in the perfect segue. This is my only slide on ePRINTit, but I am going to do a shameless plug for our February webinar where I'm literally going to open up the hood, no slides. It's going to be full live ePRINTit end-to-end setup and config. But let me talk about modern IT cloud with ePRINTit. Here we've got IT isolating devices. We've got our Internet Office. We've got zero trust. And the first thing when I bring Internet into play, when I bring ePRINTit into play, is that we have the ePRINTit cloud, right? We do not have a Windows VM. We do not have Linux. We do not have a print driver server or a driver pool or a rendering server because we do not deploy servers. We deploy code. We are a 100% microserviced environment. And for users printing into the system, when we bring our printer into play here, that printer can also be isolated because I only need internet connectivity. And the internet connectivity means that I only need power and internet to function. So my users use internet outbound. My printer uses internet outbound because when I print, it's a cloud print solution. Clues in the title. Where does my print job go? Guess where? Cloud. Microservices are an extremely efficient way of operating in IT and in infrastructure. Microsoft 365, 100% microservice. G Suite, 100% microservice. Outlook, 100% microservice. This is no different than what your IT customers that you engage with are doing today. This is normal. Already, if you were to engage with your customer and said, oh, I've got a HP print solution with ePRINTit that's 100% microservice, outbound only, and I only need internet, and you can isolate the printers and the devices, completely segregated. Nobody needs to even communicate with it. What do you think your customers say? First of all, they'll say, well, that's exactly what we do today with PCs and laptops and mobiles and all the rest of it. And you can say, well, yeah, printing is no different today because of this ePRINTit HP solution. Now, when we look at this, and here I'm going to give you a little teaser on next month's webinar, but when we talk about internet only, let me talk about what it means for you as a partner and for you as a business. How do you deploy ePRINTit? Well, it's microservice, right? I don't need to wait for a VM. We can set it up, create it, it's fine. In fact, we can do all of this for the customer, or you can do all of this for your customer before the print job even hits your warehouse from distribution, by the way, including all of the printer configuration as well. So when the printer does arrive in your warehouse, you unbox it, you do what you need to do, you connect it to the HP services and push the ePRINTit WorkPath app to it. It then uses a registration code to link to the tenant, and now you're done. You ship this out on the truck, on the van, you get to site, you unbox it, power and internet, you walk away. Why? Because it's microservice configuration. You do everything here. You don't need an IP address to set it up for the customer. You do everything in microservice cluster. And now the customer, the users can be using web. They can be using progressive web app technology as well, by the way. Use that term with your customer and see what they say. They'll be like, really? How cool. We use that today with our application delivery. Well, you can align with that with ePRINTit as well. Now, the big point before I leave this slide is that when we look at going back to our direct print, well, there's a lot of organizations that need a direct print job, right? We can actually do this with ePRINTit as well without secure pull printing. Maybe it's in a high-paced area, in medical, in healthcare, in a warehouse or whatever. As soon as a user hits print, it goes to the cloud. We use the outbound MQTT to tell the printer to open up an outbound HTTPS where we send the job immediately through the printer and paper moves. Direct printing without the IP risk. A lot there. Again, plug for next month's webinar. But the point is, right, now we're engaging with your customers. Zero trust mandate. All devices are assumed infected. But ePRINTit allows you to engage with your customers on a parallel level, right? You can be talking to them about things that they're already doing in IT. You're not going in there asking for exceptions. There is no need with ePRINTit for IP connections. You can mitigate all of those direct threats for your customers, right? And hopefully you'll start with your own eyes seeing those benefits when you start to elaborate on the fact that the ePRINTit solution on the HP platform is a cloud native microserviced environment. And nobody is doing that other than ePRINTit in the industry today. And now you're in one of the biggest valued markets in the world of IT because you have alluded, or I have alluded to you, that you are now able to supply a cybersecurity solution for print to your customers. And cybersecurity is a really good topic to talk about with them, okay? So don't be a BlackBerry, right? Add this conversation, put this to in your portfolio. Now, I know I've droned on a little bit there, but the point is, hopefully, I'm making this and reaffirming to you about what is happening in the industry today. Next month's webinar is going to be a good one. Like I said, I will promise you there will be no slides. It's going to be 100% under the hood. We're going to do a live setup and install. And already we have partners valuing that and saying, Steve, just having ePRINTit as that cybersecurity solution, not only, yes, it's again, um, you know, keep a lookout. Feel free to contact us, contact your HP colleagues. Look, Mark, do we have probably got a minute or so for questions? Do you have any questions? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, um, yeah. So in answer to that, like I said, that's actually that was a really good question because it describes February's webinar. But the point is the joys of microservice, right? I can do everything online remotely. I can do all print configuration update and changes on the microservice tenant. I can even restart using MQTT, restart the remote printers to get the new configurations. I can do all of that remotely. And using HP's command center, if I have app updates, versioning, etc., I can even do that remotely. So, in answer to your question, Mark, um, obviously it's a big question. Like I said, hopefully we're going to keep that one because I'll make notes of that for next month's webinar. But yeah, from facilitating that, it's all done through one pane of glass in ePRINTit SaaS on in the microservice cluster, and we're able to then do those device configurations and push them out remotely without even being on site. Yeah, it's very, very cool, very, very powerful. And again, like I said, make sure you're on next month's deployments without the headaches webinar to see a bit more in detail. Is that enough, Mark? Is that okay? No. Okay. 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 So yes, the SKUs are on the partner CPL. So through HP, and again, like I said, you can communicate to HP directly to look at that modeling and find more information out about ePRINTit. Or you've got our contacts there, myself, Julian, and Mark. So you can reach out to us as well. Maybe we can set up a more intimate one-to-one meeting where we can discuss. What I will say regarding pricing is that we are not modular. We do not do users. We are a device license and we have a pricing matrix as you would expect. The more you buy, the longer the term, the better the pricing per device. It's as simple as that. Nice and easy. No headaches on that. Like I said, whether you're using it for a university and student printing and staff printing, it's the same license as whether or not I'm using it for a public location in libraries or whatever, right? It's the same model. Or an engineering firm doing direct printing through our cloud service. It's the same thing. One license, one printer. Yeah. Cool. Sure. Thank you, everyone. Take care.